Good morning, honorable members. I wish to inform the House of the absence of the Right Honorable Speaker, and that in accordance with Standing Order 113.2, the Honorable First Deputy Speaker shall perform the duties and exercise the authority of the Right Honorable Speaker in relation to all proceedings of the House until the Right Honorable Speaker resumes the chair. I thank you for your attention.
Honorable members, prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic, thou members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving. A country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honourable members, we will commence with the correction of votes and proceedings for Tuesday, 6 February 2018. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Page 11. Page 12. Page 13. Page 14. Very well. Honourable members, in the absence of any corrections, the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 6 February 2018 are adopted as a true record of proceedings. Questions? The first question is to be answered by the Minister for Health. Honourable Majority Leader, is the Minister for Health here?
Speaker, the Minister is honorably absent from the House, and is delegated his responsibility to the Deputy Minister, the Honorable Abuajijebi, to come and respond to that question. Subject to the indulgence of the House and Speaker, by your leave, the member may be permitted to, the Deputy Minister may be permitted to answer the question.
Very well, if granted, let the Deputy Minister come and answer the question for the Ministry. And the question is in the name of Albert Akuka Alauzuga, Honourable Member for Garu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Health when the Garut and Pani District Hospital project will be completed.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the construction of a district hospital in the Garut-Timpani district is part of the 7 district hospitals program being undertaken by the Mrs. NMISI Company Limited of the United Kingdom under turnkey arrangement. The project has stalled due to the expiration of the letter of credit backing the loan. The Ministry of Finance is currently in discussions with the United Kingdom Export Finance, UKEF, and the contractors on strategies to extend the credit facility. In view of the above, the Ministry of Health is currently awaiting an approval for the extension of the loan from the Ministry of Finance, based on which the commercial contract will be reactivated. Works will resume as soon as it's received from the Ministry of Finance. The others are located in the towns below. Dodowa has been fully completed. Formina is 75% completed. Abetifi, Kumawu, Takoradi have started, and the secondary Takoradi one is yet to start. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister, before you, Honourable Deputy Minister, before you take your seat, the last but one paragraph is not clear. Works will resume as soon as it's received. As soon as what is received?
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I believe there's a typo. As soon as confirmation of the renewal of the letters of credit is received from the Ministry of Finance. Thank you.
Very well. Yes, I remember your follow-up question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to find out from the Minister, when did the credit expire, letters of credit?
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The letters of credit expired sometime in 2016. An arrangement, as I've said, are underway to get it renewed. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can the Minister tell me how soon they will be able to complete this negotiation, and so that they can get the contractor back to site?
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I believe the answer I gave said that the negotiation for the renewal is between the financiers and the Ministry of Finance. I am representing the Ministry of Health. I am therefore unable to give a tentative date when the letters of credit will be renewed. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm done. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister, Honourable Member for Sita Kwama.
Mr. Speaker, the Kumawu project, assuming there's renewal for the funds to be provided, will there be an extra cost to governments?
Yes, Honorable Member.
Mr. Speaker, I believe that is a technical issue, and I do not think I have the competency to answer that. My honorable colleague can come with a substantive question, and then I'll get the answers prepared for the House. Thank you very much.
Very well. Thank you. The next question is for the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources to answer. Meanwhile, Honorable Deputy Minister for Health, we thank you for attending upon the House to answer the question. You are discharged. Yes, Honorable Minister for Sanitation, please take your seat. The question is in the name of Mr. Richard Mauli Kwaku Kwashiga, Honorable Member for Keta.
Thank you, Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the aforementioned communities Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources what plans his ministry has to extend pipe-borne water from Keta to the following communities: the beach areas of Zalukopa, Tetekopa, Tetevikopa, Nukpesekopa, the lagoon side of Wi, in the beach area of Kadzikopa. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the aforementioned communities are currently not served by the Agodome Sugarkope water treatment plants. To ensure the supply of water to the affected communities, which is in line with the Water for All agenda of government, the Ministry has tasked the Ghana Water Company Limited to come up with the estimates for connecting these communities to the Agodome Sugarkope water treatment plants. Based on the cost, a suitable financing option will be sourced to undertake this extension. Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I'd like to provide additional information, which is that the Ghana Water Company has undertaken a full assessment of the situation and has identified the unlisted activities to be done in order to supply sustainable water to the referred communities. Replacement of 19 kilometers asbestos cement, 250 millimeters pipeline from Angloga to Keta with high density polyethylene ADPE pipeline ranging from 350 mm, 250 mm to 200 mm. Extension of 2.8 kilometers ADPE, 160 millimeters pipeline within the Jelukope Lokoji area. Extension of 1.8 kilometers ADPE, 90 millimeters pipeline within Jelukope Lagoon side area. Extension of 2.5 kilometers ADPE, 90 millimeters pipeline within Tetekope area. Extension of 3.0 kilometers ADPE, 90 millimeters pipeline within Tetevikope area. Extension of 4.6 kilometers ADPE, 160 millimeters pipeline within the Nukwesiko-Kope area. Extension of 3.0 kilometers ADPE, 110 millimeters pipeline within the Vui Lagoon side beach area. Extension of 4.0 kilometers ADPE, 110 millimeters pipeline within the Vui Ashtown area. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry wishes to inform this August House that the cost involved is 9,600,000 Ghana cedis. The Ministry is currently sourcing for funds to undertake these works. However, the related assemblies and the Honourable MP can also assist in mobilizing some of this Assembly Common Fund to assist us to do this quickly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the call on MPs to assist sometimes beat my imagination, because we all know that how scanty the MPs Common Fund is for such huge capital-intensive projects. But, Mr. Speaker, I was informed by the Ghana Water in Ho in 2016 that they had procured some pipes and some equipment for this project that the minister talked about. I just want to find out if that is the case. What is preventing them from starting the construction work? That is, if the minister is aware of that. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, that information has not come to my notice. But if it is the case that those pipelines are there, we're more than happy to commence the work immediately. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member. Well done. Very well. Okay. Honourable Minister, thank you for attending upon the House to answer the questions. You are discharged. Question number 272 is standing in the name of Christian Colette Otute, Honourable Member for Sege, and is to be answered by the Minister for Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for granting me the opportunity to ask the Minister for Education, what is the Ministry's program of work on the Community Day Senior High School at Goi in the Sege constituency?
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the project in question is part of the 200 community senior high school projects, of which 101 have been awarded in 2 phases. This particular project falls within the second phase and is being funded by the Government of Ghana through GET Fund. The project was awarded to Maset Suburu Associates Limited for construction on the 10th June 2015 at a contract price of 7,793,224 cedis and 85 pesos. The project consultant is Masters Lambda Consult. The project was to be completed within 18 calendar months. The contractor has carried out 10% of the works and is expected to complete the project per his revised work schedule. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. According to the Minister, the project is to be completed within 18 months, and we have done far more than that. I would like to know what is exactly the problem for which we are still not done with the work.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I cannot speak for the challenges that prevented this contractor from completing in 2016. But like after our engagement, he's come up with a new revised work plan that he will do well to complete. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity again. According to the Minister, the contractor has come up with a revised work schedule. May I know what is it?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I think given time and specificity, I can provide it to the honourable member.
Honourable member, says come again for further information, but you may probably go to his office to get.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I may also like to know if the contractor is at site.
Honourable Minister, do you know or not whether the contractor is on site?
By his work plan, he should be at site.
Mr. Minister, I would like to have an assurance here.
Honourable member, you have exhausted your time, but if you want to share, that is in your constituency, is the contractor on site? Do you know or not that the contractor is at site?
I know for sure that he's not at site, but then I would like to know from the minister as well to know if he's aware.
So kindly assist the minister by providing the information to him. As leadership, this is one question, it appears is eliciting leadership interest. Very well, Honourable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the minister in the second paragraph of his answer says that the contract price was 7.79 million Ghana cedis as of June 10, 2015, when the contract was awarded. And the contract was supposed to have been completed in 18 months, that is December 2016. May I know from the minister, giving his own information that he's giving us, that 10% of the works have been completed as of now, how much out of the 7.79 has been paid the contractor?
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'll provide the minority leader with a specific amount of money that has been provided. I can't tell him out of the top of my head.
Has he been paid anything at all, to your knowledge?
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, the reason is that the more you look into, Mr. Speaker, I'll plead that let me provide the specific answer to your good self.
Very well. Okay. Question number 273. In the name of Mr. Kwame Achampong Govin Sabeja, another member for Adaklu.
Mr. Speaker, I heard you mention my name, Kwame Govin Sabeja. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to ask the Minister for Education when the Adaklu Senior High Technical School will be absorbed by government.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. By the classification of Ghana Education Service, a school may be either private or public. However, to qualify for consideration for absorption into the public education system, a private school must fulfill a number of conditions after it has submitted a formal application for absorption. Some of the basic conditions to be fulfilled include the following. The school must have been registered by the Director of Education in the region where the school is located. The provisional certificate of registration issued by the Regional Director should bear the date of registration as well as the registration number, which is unique to the particular school. The school should show evidence that it can enroll at least 80, that is 2 streams, of senior high school Form 1 students annually. The buildings for the school should not be in a rented premises or be in a temporary structures. The school lands must be vast enough to allow for future expansion. Important land documents like the deed of conveyance, site plan, indenture, etc. must be made available. Additionally, the school to be absorbed must have the following: an adequate drainage system to ensure good sanitation and healthy environment, an effective waste-to-rubbish disposal system, facilities for storing water, facilities for alternate power supply. To ensure that these requirements are met, a team of inspectors from the Ghana Education Service is sent to schools to assess the available facilities, after which a report is submitted to management of Ghana Education Service for consideration. A large number of schools apply every year for absorption into the public stream. However, upgrading a school into a public status has financial implications for government, and if not managed properly, may overwhelm government's ability to manage and run schools. In line with this, absorption of private schools into the public stream status is planned and implemented in phases. Currently, approval for absorption of private schools into the public stream is on hold due to ongoing reforms within the sector. Adaklu Senior High Technical School will be considered alongside others for inspection and absorption after the ongoing reforms. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member Faduku.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am grateful for the answers provided by the Minister. Adaklu Senior High Technical School did go through all that, and in 2013 or 2014 had a temporary approval. Mr. Speaker, this school is serving in a community that government could not reach at this moment. I fully understand what the Minister is saying, but in the interval, is the Minister capable of helping halfway by just sending some teachers? Because currently, as a Member of Parliament, I'm being called upon to pay private teachers recruited, which I cannot do. Can the Minister give us some respite by providing, even if the limited number of teachers, to be helping us whilst we wait for the full absorption? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister, can you assist them by providing some teachers?
Mr. Speaker, I think the Honourable Member unintentionally is trying to draw policy through my statement here. If the school or the district applies, we'll consider it. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable.
Mr. Speaker, I'm okay.
Honourable Minister, thank you for attending upon the House to answer the questions. That brings us to the end of question time. You are discharged, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, there is one commemorative statement, and it is on the global commemoration of World Cancer Day. And the chairman of the Committee of Health, Honourable Member for Brekum, is called upon to read a statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make this statement in commemoration of the World Cancer Day, which is commemorated on the 4th of February every year. This year's commemoration is under the theme, We Can, I Can. Mr. Speaker, the theme, We Can, I Can, is based on the premise that collectively we can fight cancer, as can we as individuals. The We Can focuses on issues such as making the case for investing in cancer control, building a quality workforce, shaping policy change, and creating healthy workplaces, schools, and cities. The I Can focuses on issues such as making healthy lifestyle choices, which include exercising, vaccination, and eating fruits and vegetables, and understanding that early detection saves lives. Mr. Speaker, this year's theme couldn't have been better owing to the increasing importance of non-communicable diseases in general and cancers in particular on both the global and local stages. Internationally, non-communicable diseases have been captured in the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, ensuring that the highest level of policy commitment has been made to reducing NCDs, including cancers. In Ghana, the Ministry of Health has been playing the lead role through the Non-Communicable Diseases Control Program and other stakeholders to improve on cancer prevention and control. Ghana has developed cancer treatment guidelines to guide the management of cancers in Ghana. In recognition of Ghana's efforts at cancer prevention, the city of Kumasi was recently selected as the first in Sub-Saharan Africa and the fourth in the world, after Cali in Colombia, Asunción in Paraguay, and Yangon in Myanmar, to undertake the City Cancer Challenge project, where cities lead in the prevention and control efforts for cancers. On this day, I wish to congratulate the city of Kumasi for achieving this feat and to urge the managers of the project to ensure that this project is successful and the lessons learned shared with other cities in Ghana to improve our cancer prevention and control efforts. Mr. Speaker, the MPP government recognizes the importance of cancer prevention and control, and hence this was captured in the manifesto of the MPP in the 2016 elections. I wish to use this opportunity to also congratulate the Honorable Minister for Health for pursuing this agenda with all the attention it deserves. The Speaker, while applauding our efforts so far, let me also humbly request that more resources and attention be paid on cancer prevention activities in Ghana, especially on treatment of childhood cancers, since they are the future of the country. As we speak, childhood cancer treatment centers in Ghana are only available in Kolebu and Konfano teaching hospitals. Parents will have to travel long distances with their diseased children before they can access health care. At the minimum, government should ensure that the other two teaching hospitals in Ghana, namely Cape Coast and Tamale hospitals, are all equipped to provide childhood cancer treatment care as quickly as possible. Let me at this point commend highly the Robert Mitchell Memorial Foundation for their efforts in supporting government to improve access to childhood cancer care by collaborating with the University of Cape Coast School of Medical Sciences and Cape Coast Hospital to establish a satellite pediatric oncology center at Jukwa in the central region. Mr. Speaker, we must enforce the ban on smoking in public places, as smoking is a risk factor and a cause for several cancers, notably lung cancer. Let us also discourage harmful use of alcohol. We should encourage the population to eat healthy diets, rich in fruits and vegetables, and to regularly exercise to reduce their risk of cancer. I wish to also encourage the population to take up regular medical checkups to ensure early diagnosis of any cancer and other disease conditions. Mr. Speaker, I will also request that as a country, we look at the issue of vaccination of young girls against the human papilloma virus, which causes cervical cancer. This vaccine is currently available commercially and can prevent cervical cancer, which is one of the very few cancers that can be prevented by vaccination. We need to make a firm decision on whether to include the human papilloma virus vaccination in our national immunization program, as cervical cancer is estimated to be the leading cause of cancer-related deaths among women in Ghana. We need to support the service providers, chiefly the Ghana Health Services and other health delivery institutions, to provide preventive services for cancers in Ghana. We also need to strengthen early diagnosis for cancers by making these available at all levels of the health system. In so doing, we can reduce the burden of cancers in Ghana and ensure a healthy Ghanaian population. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
I'll allow one contribution each from either side, and then I'll come to the leadership. The Honorable Member for Fijase Sokore.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity given me. Mr. Speaker, I rise to associate myself with the statement by the able chairman of the Committee on Health. Mr. Speaker, my particular interest remains on that of child care cancer treatment. Mr. Speaker, it is pathetic, and obviously the prevalence of child cancer is also on the rise. Mr. Speaker, the paradox here is that whereas the NHIA makes provision for breast and cervical cancer treatment, there is no provision for cancer cases in children. Mr. Speaker, it is also interesting to note that as of 2016, children reported to have had early cancer were 1,600 compared to 2009, which was about 900. So it means that of children is on the rise. However, Mr. Speaker, only about 30% of them have treatment. It is reported that in Kolebu and Komfanoche, a total of about 1,500 cases of 2016, only 300 of them had treatment. And most of the cases that come to them are in advanced stage. And for that matter, however much the palliative treatment will be, they die in about a year to 2 years. Mr. Speaker, it's so pathetic that we have not been there for the children of this country. Many of them will grow to be the future presidents and all those, but for equity and for the fact that they don't have funding, they die for a reason that we can intervene. Mr. Speaker, I rise to implore, crave your highest indulgence. If the NHIA is resourced by any means possible, and we can include child care, early cancer, just like we do for women, breast and cervical, Mr. Speaker, it will be a great legacy, and we would have done a very great intervention. These few words suffice to say that the chairman of the Health Committee has chosen this appropriate day to have done this very important statement. And thank you so much for this time given me. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honorable, the other FRA, Honorable Member for Secretary, is that right?
Yes. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. And let me congratulate the chairman of the Health Committee for bringing this important landmark to the House. Mr. Speaker, time was when the conventional wisdom was that cancers were diseases of the first world. But because of a combination of several factors, the developing world, as it were, has earned the right to suffer from cancers. This is because longevity has improved across the world and even in the developing world. Mr. Speaker, I believe that cancers are very important and we must make an effort to manage them very well in this country. It will interest the House to know that the prevalent rate in cancers is over all the populations, but children and women bear especially bigger brunt of the prevalence. And the
The most interesting thing is that for children, cancers in children are almost eminently treatable. In fact, you can procure a cure in several of them. When you take Beckett's lymphoma, acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and even some of the non-Hodgkin's disease, which are very prominent in children, you can actually procure a cure if they are detected early. Mr. Speaker, when you take cancers in the whole population, for women, the most important prevalent cases are in breast, the cervix, and ovary. And we have respectively 33.9% for breast cancer, cervical cancer 29.4%, ovarian cancer 11.3%. And I'm quoting from Dennis Laye and et al., a study done in 2012. Mr. Speaker, I believe that Ghana should make an effort to manage cancers and also to contribute to the body of knowledge in the world. It is not sufficient to think that because we are a developing country, we cannot contribute. After all, a lot of the cancers, or some of the cancers, are specifically based or limited to the tropics. Beckett's lymphoma being a prominent example. So if we do not take care, they will remain part of the neglected tropical diseases. So it behoves on us to set up a system which can contribute to the body of knowledge out there so that we can manage Beckett's lymphoma. Mr. Speaker, I believe that Ghana will have to mount a very spirited public education to address the issue of traditional and cultural beliefs which are impeding early detection of cancers. In this, on this same tone, I would believe that public education should address the problem of healthy lifestyle choices, tobacco and alcohol abuse. I'm calling for institutional strengthening so that hospitals in districts at least can have labs which are well resourced to do basic histopathological evaluations and diagnosis so that we can harvest cancers early. Mr. Speaker, I also want to add my voice that, yes, when during the tentative years when the NHIS was being brought on board, we wanted to avoid areas which were difficult. But the time has come to bring on board, as captured in the MPP manifesto, that we must deal with cancers, especially when the body of knowledge has improved such that we can procure a cure, if, as I may put it. And I believe that the tertiary institutions should also be strengthened. And finally, I want our government or Ghana to set up or encourage the setting up of private research institutions, because it's been proven all over the world that they do better in this area, so that we can use this oncology as a chain initiating step for private participation in the health diagnostic process. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Minority leadership. Majority leader, there's one leader, let me give it to the member for Deputy Minister for Gender before I come to you, leader. Yes, honorable member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I rise to associate myself with a statement well made by Dr. Chumnyoma, honorable member for Brekum East. Talking about cancers, his second paragraph has educated us that it is a lifestyle disease. And that's a lifestyle, we can change our lifestyles to also change the prevalence rate. Cancers and diseases like that could be prevented, as he has stated, by eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and involving a lot of exercise, which Ghanaians and as corporate people, we hardly have the time to do all this. On this very day, I want to appeal to Ministry of Health and all other stakeholders to undertake an advocacy on the consumption of fruit and vegetables and also exercise, which will go a long way to reduce cancers among especially women. When we're talking about cancers in Ghana, it is women and children we often hear of. And as we're talking about healthy lifestyle, I want to congratulate the member for stressing on this very lifestyle to enable all of us not to wait for the cancers to reach us before we look for early treatment, but we should prevent them. Again, on this very occasion, I wish to appeal to all present to avoid visiting prayer camps when we have some illnesses that we don't even know the cause. We should first seek medical attention, for the powers of God do not know any distance. So whilst we are in the hospital, we can still seek the spiritual assistance if you so believe. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Honorable Majority Leader. Honorable Majority Leader, should I give your opportunity to one of your members? Or if you want to continue, very well. Then the last one will go to Honorable Okoboy.
Very grateful for the opportunity, right, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, cancer is a condition where our body cells start to grow out of proportion. There are some risk factors for cancer generally, right, Honorable Speaker? The first being aging. As we age, we become prone to some cancers. Our diets also can make us prone to cancers, especially animal sources, diets from animal sources. Diets from plant sources are known to be less cancer prone. Right, Honorable Speaker, being a black person or the black race itself, it's also a risk for some cancers like prostate cancer. In fact, in Africa, the leading cause of cancer in men is that of liver cancer, followed by prostate. Right, Honorable Speaker, women have to deal with breast cancer when it comes to the most infamous or the most prominent cancer cases in this country. In 2012, 2,000 women were diagnosed with breast cancer, and unfortunately, 50% of these women died of the condition. In Europe and North America, the mortality rate from cancer is less than 20%. But most women die from breast cancer because in Ghana, it is detected very late. Cancer is one of the conditions that you can have and yet look very strong and healthy. In Ghana, most people only present to the hospital when they have a headache, they are losing weight, or feel unwell. And cancer is one of the conditions where some of these things can be absent. And that is why we need to do a lot of education on cancer. Right, Honorable Speaker, we have a huge challenge also with our cultural practices and beliefs. When people present to the hospital and are diagnosed with cancer, the first thing they do is to consult relatives who tell them, you have to see a pastor, it is more spiritual than physical. In fact, in Ghana, any condition is considered spiritual until otherwise determined. Right, Honorable Speaker, it is also important to remember that cancer can be prevented. One of the best ways to prevent cancer is to do regular exercise. You don't need to run. You don't need to join a marathon. All you need to do is to walk average 20 minutes a day, and you can stay very far from cancer. Right, Honorable Speaker, studies done in most institutions have revealed that doing regular exercises boosts your immune system, helps you to control your weight, and also reduce your insulin levels. Three factors that are key to fighting cancer. Right, Honorable Speaker, Ghana also is faced with what we call the double burden of disease. Traditionally, we have to deal with a lot of infectious conditions like malaria, retro, and pneumonia. So we invest a lot of our resources into some of these conditions. And these are conditions that come with high temperature and a feeling of emergency. Because we are dealing with infectious conditions, we are faced with a difficult decision to invest also in non-communicable or lifestyle diseases. But looking at the current trend, we have no option than to look at both conditions, both the infectious and the non-infectious. I'd like to conclude by recommending that certain jobs or occupations themselves are a risk for cancer and lifestyle diseases. Being a parliamentarian, Right Honourable Speaker, exposes you to a lot of inactivity. And I would like to, based on this note, urge Parliament to work on the parliamentary gym so that a lot of members can do some activity after sitting. Right Honourable Speaker, Ghana must also look at a law that will make sure that when you are above 40 years, at least you present your prostate screen and breast cancer screen when you are going through certain processes. It should be mandatory so that we can pick a lot of cancer cases before they get to the advanced stage. Lastly, being diagnosed with cancer is not a death sentence, Right Honourable Speaker. We have treatment regimes in this country. Seek help and you will find help. Very grateful for the opportunity.
Very well, honourable members. That brings us to the end of statements admitted for today. At the commencement of public business, presentation of papers. Honourable Majority Leader. All right. Honourable Majority Leader, the table office is not sure what you presented, so I repeat it. Item number 5A.
Report of the Auditor General on the liabilities of ministries, departments, and agencies as of 31st December 2016.
Honourable members, the report is duly laid and is referred to the Public Accounts Committee for consideration and report. Item number 5B, the Chairman of the Committee.
Report of the Finance Committee on the request for waiver of import duties, import VAT, ECOWAS levy, EXIM levy, special import levy, and other approved imports as assessed amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of 48,103,230 United States dollars and 70 cents, equivalent to 211,456,917 Ghana cedis, 11 pesos, on equipment and materials to be procured by Ministry of Railway Development and AFCON's Infrastructure Limited of India in respect of A, design and construction of an 84.8-kilometer multimodal railway line, including railway stations between Tema and Nakosombo, and B, the design and construction of railway heads at Tema and Nakosombo on an engineering, procurement, and construction basis by AFCON's Infrastructure Limited, India.
Honourable members, the report is duly laid and is for distribution to members. Honourable Majority Leader, are we ready to take item number 6?
Mr. Speaker, we agreed that the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, now that is here, will have some engagement with him at the leadership level and make some determination. So when we come to dealing with the motion, it will be smooth for all of us. Now, we would not want it to be moved today, not having come to that conclusion. So we stand it down. Both motions listed as item number 6 and 7. And we'll do further consultation with the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee before we bring them back for consideration by the House.
Very well. Further consideration of items number 6 and 7 are deferred. Item number, right, we have 6 and 7 again. Look at this. Very well, honourable members, I think there's an error. We have to make some corrections on the other paper. If you go to page 4, from motion number 7 on page 3, you return to 6 for another motion. So let's correct it to 8. And the next motion on page 4 becomes 9. So, Chairman, motion numbered 8.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that motion numbered as item 8 on page 4 of today's order paper be taken now. I so move.
Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker,
Yes,
I rise to second the motion.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved and seconded for the consideration of the House. All in favour say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Item number 9. Motion by the chairman.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this honourable House adopts the report of the Finance Committee on a request for waiver of import duties, import VAT, import NHIL, ECOWAS levy, EDIF, special imports levy, and other approved inputs, including inspection fees as assessed, amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of 2,287,095 euros on project equipment and materials for the implementation of the project agreement between the Ministry of Health and VAMED in respect of the design, construction, equipment, and furnishing of 5 polyclinics in the Greater Accra region, Phase 4, to be located in Adentan, Ashiaman, Botiano, Oduman, and Sege. Mr. Speaker, in so doing, I will present the committee's report. So, Mr. Speaker, I will only speak to sections of it, so I'll ask that the Hansard Department capture it fully as I present relevant portions. Mr. Speaker, the request before us is for a waiver of import duties, import VAT, NHIL, EXIM levy, ECOWAS levy, and special import levy amounting to 2,287,095 euros. Mr. Speaker, an assessment of the duties, taxes, and levies is given in Table 1 on page 3 of the report. Mr. Speaker, as regards progress of work, the Sege 1 is at 35% completion point, Ashiaman 27, Adentan 25, Oduman 27%, and Botiano 26%. Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Minister for Health indicated that it was the intention of the Ministry of Health to site one of the polyclinics in the main Adentan township. However, due to difficulties in getting a site, the polyclinic is now being constructed in Obojo instead. also in the Adentan municipality. Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Minister of Finance also informed the committee that in order to ensure that projects are not overly delayed as a result of delays in obtaining these tax waivers from Parliament, the Ministry of Finance sometimes issues temporary permits to contractors to enable them clear some key items for ongoing projects. So far, temporary permits amounting to 2.13 million Ghana cedis have been issued to enable the contractor clear some equipment. This temporary exemption has been included as part of the request currently before Parliament for approval. Recommendations. Mr. Speaker, the committee noted that the Ministry for Finance was developing a tax exemption policy. The committee is of the view that the policy would help streamline the tax exemptions regime. The committee therefore recommends that the Finance Ministry expedites work on the policy to help sanitize the system. The committee also expressed concern about the manner in which the Ministry of Finance grants temporary permits to contractors to clear items instead of ensuring the timely submission of tax waiver requests for parliamentary approval. The issuance of temporary permits defeats Parliament's oversight responsibility. The committee therefore recommends that the Ministry of Finance should stop granting temporary permits. Mr. Speaker, considering the benefits the health sector stands to gain from undertaking this project and the immense socio-economic benefits to be derived from the project, the committee is of the view that the request is in the right direction. The committee therefore recommends to the House the adoption of its report and to approve the request for waiver of import duties and other approved imposts totaling 2.3 million euros on project equipment and materials for the implementation of the project agreement between the Ministry of Health and VAMED. Respectfully submitted, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved and seconded for the consideration of the House. Yes, Honourable Member for Ofasia Irebi and Deputy Minister for Information.
Mr. Speaker, thanks for the opportunity. I rise to second the motion, and in so doing, very briefly, I would mention that the committee was in one breath impressed with the detailed work that the Ghana Revenue Authority had done in terms of its analysis and in terms of determining which item qualifies at what amount. In another breath, the committee also gave some more feedback to the policy maker when it comes to tax waivers to tighten the policy prescriptions under which these tax waivers are brought, so that the fear that we all have that we are losing a lot of money in that space is attended to in the near future. With those few words, I second the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman, in which constituencies are Sege? Sege is a constituency on its own, right?
It's a town in the Adan. Sege is a constituency, but there's a town to Sege. Yeah.
And Ashaman is a constituency.
Yeah, constituency.
Oduman, where is Oduman?
Oduman. Oduman will be your constituency. Onap. Sophia Koko. It's in her constituency.
Okay. Oduman is in Sophia's constituency, is that right? And Botiano.
Mr. Speaker, all these constituencies, all these projects are in constituencies that the NDC won.
They're in the minority. Those that are boycotting. I just want to be sure that since these are in the constituencies of those boycotting, can we suspend work on it? When they resume work, then we can do it.
They are still working.
Honourable Majority, what do you think? Can we suspend the consideration of this one when those in whose constituency they are resume work, then we'll consider them?
Yes, Speaker. Yes, Speaker. I believe we have we have a fully fledged sitting of the House. And the two sides of this House are populated by members of this House. So if any business is transacted, it's transacted in the name of Parliament. So we can go on.
Very well. I thought one half of the House was on strike. So honourable members, I'll now put the question. All in favour of the motion say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Item number 10. Honourable Minister. Yes, Honourable Deputy Minister for Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the resolution captured as item number 10 on pages 5 and 6 of today's order paper be adopted now. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Chairman of the Committee.
I second the motion.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved and seconded for the consideration of the House. All in favour of the motion say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. Resolution numbered 10 on the order paper is hereby honourable majority that we corrected the errors in its item number 10. So resolution numbered item number 10 on the order paper is hereby adopted by the House. Honourable majority, are we ready to take item number 11?
Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I believe we are ready.
Very well. Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that motion captured as item number 11 on page 6 of today's order paper be taken now. I so move.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable members, the motion, the procedural motion, is moved and seconded. All in favour say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Item number 12.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that this Honourable House adopts the report of the Finance Committee on the agreement between the Government of the Republic of Ghana and the Government of the United States of America regarding mutual assistance between their customs administrations. And in so doing, Mr. Speaker, I will present the committee's report once again. Mr. Speaker, the agreement between the Government of the United States of America and the Government of the Republic of Ghana regarding mutual assistance between their customs administration was laid in Parliament on 11th December 2017 in accordance with Article 75 of the 1992 Constitution. Mr. Speaker, the agreement was subsequently referred to the Finance Committee for consideration and report. Again, I would ask that the report be captured in its entirety as I speak to sections of it. Mr. Speaker, this instrument of bilateral exchange of information is aimed at facilitating and providing a legal basis for the exchange of information between the customs administrations of Ghana and the United States of America. Mr. Speaker, the World Customs Organization adopted this model bilateral convention on mutual administrative assistance for countries to implement as part of national customs policies. Based on the World Customs Organization Model Convention, Ghana and the USA signed a customs mutual assistance agreement on 9th December 2003. Mr. Speaker, the object of the agreement, as stated earlier, is to provide a legal basis
for the exchange of information between the two countries. Observations. The committee observed that the agreement is desirable because it will give a number of benefits, and all of these are listed A to G on pages 6 and 7. The committee noted that the agreement is based on the World Customs Organization Model Convention and was originally signed between Ghana and the U.S. on 9 December 2003. However, it has become imperative to ratify it now in order to obtain the full benefits thereof. Similar agreements exist between the U.S. and South Africa, Kenya, Morocco, Nigeria, Senegal, Mauritius, and a number of Asian and European countries. Mr. Speaker, the committee has thoroughly examined the agreement and finds that its ratification will help provide a mutually beneficial arrangement for mutual assistance between the customs administrations of the Republic of Ghana and the United States of America. The committee therefore recommends to the House to adopt this report and ratify by resolution the agreement between the government of the United States of America and the government of the Republic of Ghana regarding mutual assistance between their customs administrations in accordance with Article 75 2B of the 1992 Constitution and the standing orders of the House. Respectfully submitted, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, thanks for the opportunity to contribute. Mr. Speaker, the importance of this agreement, which we are inviting Parliament to ratify, cannot be understated. It holds immense benefit for the state, particularly in its revenue mobilization efforts. But, Mr. Speaker, while we support this motion, it's important to draw the attention of the implementing agency, the Ghana Revenue Authority, to the fact that in implementing some of the articles of this agreement, it is important for them to be mindful of the constitutional and other legal provisions here in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, Article 4.2 of the agreement imposes an obligation on the government of Ghana to, upon request from the American authorities, conduct surveillance on subjects in Ghana and pass on the information of that surveillance or the findings of that surveillance to the American authorities. Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I read from Article 18.2 of the Constitution 1992. No person shall be subjected to interference with the privacy of his home, property, correspondence, or communication except in accordance with law and as may be necessary in a free and democratic society for the public safety or the economic well-being of the country. Mr. Speaker, therefore, the provision in this agreement to conduct surveillance ought not to be taken as a blanket provision to be executed without recourse to the laws of Ghana. And it's important to put on record the need for the Ghana Revenue Authority in its attempt to implement that particular clause to be mindful of the legal provisions or the constitutional provisions that govern this country. Article 9 as well of that agreement also places limitations on the use of information obtained under this agreement. The information shall be afforded the same degree of confidentiality by the receiving party as that applied to similar information in its custody. Again, the practices for release of information within the Ghanaian jurisdiction may not exactly be aligned with the practices for release of classified or confidential information within the American jurisdiction. And again, we are of the view that it's important to draw the attention of the Ghana Revenue Authority that will be implementing this agreement as it does so, draw the attention to the fact that there are legal provisions in Ghana that must be brought in consonance with that of the United States as they implement it. With that said, Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Yes, Honorable Minister for Railway Development.
Mr. Speaker, just looking at this, the report of the committee raises a lot of interesting questions. Mr. Speaker, I must admit that this is a house of law, which is not, it's not a court. It doesn't comprise only lawyers. Mr. Speaker, we can comment on various topics. This morning, a statement was made on cancer, and I couldn't catch your eye. Otherwise, I would have commented, even though I'm not a doctor. But, Mr. Speaker, we cannot deny that we come here with different backgrounds, with different specialized knowledge. This matter was referred to the Finance Committee. I'm not in a position to know the composition of the Finance Committee. But in some of these matters, I've always wondered whether it will not be useful to have the Constitution and Legal Committee join hands with the Finance Committee to be able to give us some better perspective. These are matters of law. Admissibility of evidence. You get the information, what are you going to do with it? You are going to use it to prosecute somebody, to arrest somebody. There are questions of admissibility of evidence. As Attorney General, we prosecuted this Tagore case. When we went to court, in the High Court, they said you could record somebody. In the Court of Appeal, they said you couldn't record somebody. Unfortunately, you never went to the Supreme Court. So the matters are large. Because what is the purpose of ratifying a convention when
Honorable Minister, the matter is not large. The Supreme Court decision, the Court of Appeal decision, still holds to until it's overturned by the Supreme Court, if they so do.
So, Mr. Speaker, the matter is in the Court of Appeal there. Okay. As far as the Supreme Court is concerned, it's a lie. The highest court has not had the opportunity to decide on it. But, Mr. Speaker, that is the point. So I don't know whether going forward, or I don't know whether when we review our standing orders, we must look at some of these things and recognize that there are certain matters in which it will be useful to have the Constitutional and Legal Committee also represented to give us their view. I know there are people here who have a lot of legal expertise, recognized internationally as lawyers by BBC and so on. But, Mr. Speaker, that BBC recognition alone, with respect, does not give capacity. It is. So, it is a serious matter. I know that there are times that the Speaker, in his wisdom, says that there should be a joint committee or something like that. But perhaps if we structure it better, these matters will be given the benefit of the advice of at least the members of the Constitutional and Legal Committee on both sides of the House who have the training to give us a certain perspective. So, Mr. Speaker, not having had the benefit of the Legal and Constitutional Committee, I find myself constrained to rely on my very good friend, the Honorable member for New Jersey South, who has competence in the area of economics. He's a doctor in the area of economics, who rose earlier today and he was asked whether he was a doctor. He said, yes, I'm a doctor, but not a doctor of medicine. Who agrees with me that he's not a lawyer. But in this case, I rely on he and this committee who have given what, in my view, amounts to legal advice. And I'll say, well, as is said in the court sometimes, we will take it for what it is worth, and I'll support the motion.
Yeah. Honorable Chairman, I know what you're going to say because you have argued that so many times in the House. So I know your view on this matter. But I think the point raised by the former Speaker is a very valid point. I have been his deputy ranking at the Committee on Constitutional Affairs for some time. I have myself been a ranking, and there are often challenges with advice which is supposed to contain an agreement without reference to the legal committee of the House. And has always generated a discussion. But I recall our own senior lawyer, who was the former leader of the House, Papa Zankuma, persistently also arguing like the current chairman that the standing order is clear to whom we should refer agreements. I think last week or so, if the leader will advise, last week, I tried to refer something to the Joint Committee, and it was fiercely resisted by the chairman of the Finance Committee. But I think it is time we consider this position again, whether we should restrict ourselves to being giving legal advice by professors in economics. Let me hear the leader. As for you, I can predict you.
Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to provide some illumination on what you just said. What the current High Commissioner to UK, a former leader of the House, Papa Wusiankuma, said at the time. That is when he mounted that stoic defense for the Finance Committee. The Speaker, at that time, he spoke not as a former leader, not as a former Attorney General, but he spoke as a member of the Finance Committee. He was, at that time, a member of the Finance Committee. So that was how come he spoke the way he spoke. But, Mr. Speaker, I agree with you that we need to have a second look at that. Except that, in this case, the consideration is on customs administration. It's on customs administration. That is why I believe it is right to let the Finance Committee do the consideration of the matter and report to us. Otherwise, this also is an international agreement. And if we're not careful, the members of the Committee on Foreign Affairs will also come banging on our doors that they need to be part of the discussion. So I guess where we are, let's consider what we have before us. Maybe going into the future, we'll have to bring some critical thinking to bear on this and see how we clear the next time around. Speaker, thank you.
Very well. A member of the Finance Committee, the Deputy Minister, who is also a lawyer, actually raised the issues relating to privacy, constitutional guarantees, and what use you can put information you extract relying on this. Because then this convention, even though it's adopted, is still subject to the Constitution. And so we should be very careful. Customs should be well-minded to be assured that they may pick information, but they will not be able to use it for the purposes for which they intended. So at this juncture, I'll put the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Item number 13. Honorable Deputy Minister for Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the resolution captured as item number 13 on page 7 of today's order paper be adopted now. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder?
Second the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Very well, honourable members. The motion has been moved and seconded. The question is, all in favor of the motion, say aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it. The resolution numbered item 13 on page 7 of the other paper is hereby adopted. Honourable members, item number 14, motion.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the motion captured as item 14 on page 8 of today's order paper be taken now. I so move.
Yes, Honourable Deputy Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved and seconded. The question is, all in favour of the motion, say aye. Aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Item number 15.
Speaker, I beg to move that this Honourable House adopts the report of the Finance Committee on the request for waiver of import duties, import VAT, ECOWAS levy, EXIM levy, special import levy, and other approved inputs as assigned, amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of 48,103,213 United States dollars and 70 cents, equivalent to 211,000 Ghana cedis, 11 pesos on equipment and materials to be procured by Ministry of Railways Development and AFCON's Infrastructure Limited of India in respect of the design and construction of an 84.8-kilometer multimodal railway line, including railway stations between Tema and Akosombo, and B, the design and construction of railway heads at Tema and Akosombo on an engineering, procurement and construction basis by AFCON's Infrastructure Limited, India. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, I'll present sections of the committee's report and ask that the report be captured in its entirety. Mr. Speaker, in June 2007, the then Ministry of Harbours and Railways commissioned a feasibility study into a multimodal transport link between Tema and Bupe via Akosombo. The report was submitted in 2009 and emphatically established the economic, financial, and operational feasibility of the freight corridor. The Tema-Akosombo railway line was subsequently incorporated and described in the Railway Master Plan of 2013, which seeks to guide the systematic development of the railway network in Ghana. The cost of the project, without taxes and duties, is $398.3 million and is being financed from an Indian Exim Bank credit facility under National Export Insurance account. Mr. Speaker, presently, the total amount of taxes and duties for which the waiver is being sought is $43.1 million, and a breakdown is presented in the table on page 4. Mr. Speaker, the committee noted that clauses 14.16 and 7.8 of the contract agreement require that the project be exempt from the payment of local taxes. In case the contractor pays any such tax, it shall be reimbursed by the employer, Government of Ghana. The pricing calculation of the cost of the project was thus modeled on an exemption from taxes and duties. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of recurrent waiver requests, the committee expressed concern about the incessant requests for waiver of taxes and duties for major government projects, especially those sourced to foreign contractors. The Deputy Minister of Finance explained to the committee that the government is usually faced with the choice of either waiving the taxes or borrowing more in order to pay for the relevant project. Mr. Speaker, the committee is satisfied with the request and also satisfies itself that it's in consonance with the contract agreement between the Government of Ghana and AFCON's Infrastructure Limited, India. The committee therefore recommends to the House to adopt its report and approve by resolution the request for waiver of import duties and other approved imposts totaling $48.1 million. Respectfully submitted, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member for Bantama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to support the motion that is being considered now. And in so doing, Mr. Speaker, I just want to comment on point number 4.4, which talks about the need for waiver, tax waivers. Mr. Speaker, we realize that at the committee level that time and again we are asked to give tax waivers, or at least consider it, and make a recommendation to Parliament for consideration. But we also realize that we do not have any scientific basis from the Ministry of Finance to look at tax waivers, and we have asked for one. I believe that given our financial situation as a country, there are many cases where we will have to give in as either a committee or Parliament to tax waivers. Because if we don't, we have to raise the money to pay for it and ultimately refund it. But I believe for us to be able to do a good job, either at the committee level or even here in Parliament, we should be able to be given some guidelines as to how we can assess these tax waivers. Because we realize that it is increasing. The number of tax waivers that are coming up is actually so many that with that proper guidelines, it seems our oversight responsibility in looking at the work of Parliament is somewhat weakened because you don't have all the information you need to make decisions. So I believe if you look at the comments that is here, it is necessary that we give tax waivers, but I believe the Ministry of Finance should support us and help us to be able to do this realistically. And I believe if we get guidelines for tax and cost and benefit analysis in considering tax waivers, we'll be able to enhance our job. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Honourable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is all in favor of the motion, say aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Item number 16 on the order paper. Honourable Deputy Minister for Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the resolution captured as item number 16 on pages 9 and 10 of today's order paper be adopted now. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman of the committee.
Second the motion, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the resolution numbered 16 on order paper number 9 has been moved and seconded. All in favor of the motion say aye. All against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Resolution number 16 is hereby adopted by the House. Honourable Majority Leader.
Speaker, we've come to the end of today's business, and as we told ourselves, in fact, we even intended to adjourn at 12 to enable the service providers to come and work on the chamber. It's almost 1 o'clock now, so I believe we can now take an adjournment and return to the chamber tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. But, Mr. Speaker, I would want to advise that we come early tomorrow morning. Parliament is required to begin sitting at sharp 10 o'clock. The President is going to be with us at 10:15. So let us be here on time. I'm informed that the security services insist that after the President enters the chamber, they may not allow any other person to enter. So to plead with members that we should be on time, and also to conduct ourselves responsibly as members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much.
Any second. The motion for adjournment has been moved by the leader. Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Honourable members, the motion has been moved and seconded. The question is all in favor of the motion for adjournment, say aye. All against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. The House is accordingly adjourned till Thursday, 8th February 2018 at exactly 10 o'clock in the forenoon.